and failed to do it.
I failed to open the chat.
So we're going to bring these guys in. I know we have questions queued up from different people in Twitch chat. So if you guys have questions, of course, feel free to drop in questions.
Chris is not quite in. You need to switch clearly.
All right, JoSEePL, ready to put your joke to the thing.
Oh, I need to scooch too because I think
I think we scooch a little bit more.
Live television.
We're scooching live.
And we're scooching, live scooching, ladies and
So here's the problem. We also, the production team hates me. I want to give a shout out to our production group behind here because I literally go like, oh, we're only going to have like 2 people. And then we continue to add people. And then Rod wanted to be in it yesterday. So now suddenly we're up to like 20 people. And this room can't hold this many people. So I apologize. They are angels and they deal with me. But we do have some questions. And I will be kind of going back and forth in between both of them. But we do, oh, perfect. We do have some questions up here. Someone's also calling me, which is awful at this time. Quick question. Any updates around, this is for D4 specifically, any updates around respecting characters?
Yeah, so right now I think that there's a few different concerns we're hearing from the community. There's the general cost of respecting characters, and then there is at various stages of the game, and then there is the actual experience of respecting a character, particularly when you're deeper into the Paragon system. Like that takes a lot of effort. So we have longer term plans on the user experience side, like on the menu side, things we want to do to improve the flow of allowing players to respect their characters. These are things we're actively investigating. We have designs for things we're looking to add into seasons in the future, but we don't have a date that we're committing to today for that. And in terms of the actual price of that, we're evaluating things on like the gold economy, and we're taking a look at like what players are doing on a regular basis. We're not making any fundamental structural changes to today at this time, but we are, because we're satisfied with where things feel like in the 150. One thing we will be adding though is as part of seasons, there's now a new reward that you can collect as you're going through the season journey at the end of each season, called the Scroll of Amnesia. Which, and once you collect a Scroll of Amnesia, you can use that one time to basically reset the entirety of the character all in one go for no gold cost at all. So these are gonna be like pretty fun things to bring back with you to the Eternal Realm if you want to use for future playthroughs or for that character or another character. So we want to make sure that we're like slowly adding a few of these as the players progressing through the experience, kind of make that a little bit easier for players to go through.
And that Scroll of Amnesia is everything. It's all your skills, all your Paragon, everything goes to 0.
Yeah.
Awesome. For Immortal, we have a question from, I'm reading everyone's names, 8 Miles West. How much will the Blood Knight cost? I know we covered this early on, but if you guys want to reiterate.
The Blood Knight will cost nothing. The Blood Knight is free.
It's free. So if you're a new Immortal player, or you're a existing Immortal player, you can literally jump in, start playing the Blood Knight on day 1, which is on July 13th. So, and of course, you can play through the campaign, and we had mentioned that it has essentially custom VO and everything associated with it.
That's right.
For D4, I should be more prepared with these.
That's usually that's a safe statement all the time. Is you should be more prepared.
We have Rod judging me off screen right here, and I'm just like, awesome.
Perfect.
Little side story real quick. So we have a thing in design called design armor, where like as you're about to like talk about an idea with someone, you're like, this might be a really bad idea, but and that's you putting up your shield saying, this is my design armor. Saying, I know that this might be really, really bad, but we're talking about it anyway. So yes, I should probably be more prepared, but here we go. That's your design armor.
Question from Fig Lorna.
You committed to saying the names.
I know I did.
We don't want anyone to suggest that these are not good questions.
Yeah, from Fig Lorna. Will seasonal mechanics be added to the Eternal Realm after the season ends? I think that's something we didn't actually clarify very well.
That is a great question that actually gets asked internally as well a lot. Like, hey, this is awesome. Are we going to keep it around forever? Initially, no. Like, initially, the version of the melee mechanics that you're seeing are not planned to show up in the Eternal Realm. However, we are reserving the right as developers that if we see something cool and we think, wow, this is just fantastic, this should just be part of the game, that we will just make it part of the game. So it is absolutely an option. Some mechanics you might see in future seasons might be that way right away. We might be planning that, hey, this will show up in Eternal Realm right away. Others will evaluate them as we play them and then see if this is working really well. This is something that we want to integrate with the Eternal version of the game.
Yeah, I want to stay on this just 1 second longer. That's not to suggest that we're not going to be, as part of seasons, intentionally using those opt-in opportunities to create content for the base game, like stuff that will persist beyond the end of the season. But we really do want to hone in on the idea that we're like, Malignant Hearts are very powerful, as we talked about before. They're really, really cool. They're very exciting. We can't add something exciting like that every season if it's expected to all last, because the game's going to be a complete mess.
Right.
So we're not going to do that. What we would end up needing to do is all of those things would be extremely incremental in terms of what they offered to the players over the course of time, and it would make the game extraordinarily dense in terms of what the players expected to do on a regular basis.
And to understand.
We know that there's opportunities to extend things like add more endgame features. We know that there's more content we want to add to the game in general that like everybody's going to need forever, and we're going to be looking at those opportunities as we go. But things like Malignant Hearts, we don't want to have something of that size in Season 1, then add something of similar size in Season 2, and then Season 3 and Season 4, because the game's going to get extremely dense and difficult for players to really navigate. We want to be able to like take these things away, introduce new ideas, but having known what worked really, really well with Malignant Hearts and what stuff we could maybe have improved upon, we get to take all of those ideas forward.
It's also part of the cool factor of the season is that when you're going in, these Malignant Hearts, it's there for the season. So even, let's take a player that, let's say, doesn't like to play alts except of the same class. I just love playing Barbarian, and I have 3 different Barbarians already on Eternal because it's the perfect class.
Player, and all you play is rogues, and all you do is build rogues.
There might be a lot of those too. But let's say a Barbarian, that's my hypothetical, I'm sticking with it. So I'm a Barbarian lover, and I've made all these Barbarians. Season 1 is still an exciting time to make a new Barbarian, because we have all of these new Malignant powers that allow you to make radically new builds that are completely different from Barbarians you played in the past. Your endgame is going to be very different. So that excitement goes away if we just say like, oh, all of these powers just exist in the game forever. The whole idea is that no, every season is a fresh new experience that gives you builds that did not exist previously. So the idea is some of that stuff is always designed to go away.
Yeah.
So Joe, I mean, one of the things.
This is Rod off camera speaking.
Rod off camera. Hey,
yeah.
voice
Right.
guy.
Joe,
Yes.
maybe speak to the fact that
Everybody starts at the same place of the season is one of the benefits, so that people aren't like a year behind when they go to play season 4.
Yeah, that's an important part of this as well. One of the reasons we really like the idea of letting players start back fresh and have like an economy reset, players really jumping back in the experience at level 1 with characters, is it allows us to focus on making sure the entirety of that journey is really engaging and exciting for players to go through. And we want to make sure, like by the end of the first session, for example, like you're getting exposed to like the new features and content available that we're introducing in that season. That everything feels like it's balanced in such a way that players can really enjoy the new things that we're adding, and the way that they're kind of intelligently mixed with the rest of the features in the game itself. So that we think of that experience is part of what makes a Diablo game anyways. Like making a new character, getting those item drops, like building up towards the end. With regards to like the way that we decided to conduct our efforts in seasons for Diablo 4, we think this is a really like the prime example of the way that we can make this work.
But I wanted you to hit on the point, the fact that if somebody buys the game,
yeah, they're not like fundamentally behind.
yeah. If somebody, like, I'm gonna mess with the camera people. Can you?
Yeah.
You can't even do it, can you? You can't even get there. All we can do is I can just have my talking. Oh, hey, what's going on? The notion of the thing that we're talking about is that we want, again, the game is a live service, the game's going to live for years. We want somebody who buys the game a year from now to not feel like they're a year behind when it comes to. So one of the benefits of seasons is, in season 4, on day 1, you and I are both level 1. I bought it that day, you have owned the game for a year. We're in the same place, we can play together and have fun together. And so as opposed to everybody from this moment on is now falling behind, seasons allows us to have that fresh start for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's actually, I could have put it better myself. That serves as a really, really good opportunity for us to make sure the players have a starting point together when you want to come in a little bit later into the game experience. If you've taken a season or 2 off because something else came out, we want to make sure that it feels like, the most important thing for us in seasons, like kind of going off script in a different way now, is that like, when you're playing seasons and you're playing Diablo 4, you're having a great time. And when you've reached all the goals and done the things that you think are really, really important, and you want to go like take a break to go play something else for a little while, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. We do the same thing.
You don't fall behind.
But when a season rolls and there's new things for you to come check out, that's a great time to come back. Particularly if you had a good time playing before. That's exactly when you should come back and check out Diablo 4 fresh.
Okay, I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When the next WoW expansion comes out, there's a non-zero chance that I'm going to play WoW for a while. But it's great to know there's a point that I can come back to Diablo 4 and everybody's on an even footing. Yeah.
Question here from Jeffrey Allen, and didn't specify the D4 or DI, so I'm actually going to ask both because I think this is relevant to both. Also,
why do you have a new mic?
I actually don't know. But yeah. 2 mics, guys. I'm very
Like Adam. I'm too like Adam.
you have me in stereo. Can you say which cosmetics will be transferring between characters? So for instance, like for Diablo Immortal, we'll ask this specifically for Diablo Immortal, and then we'll talk about Diablo 4. But in regards to transferring cosmetics, like if you ended up buying a cosmetic in Diablo Immortal, does that actually also appear on the Blood Knight?
So cosmetics purchased prior to the Blood Knight's release will not be retroactive. However, the what was the Mother's Lament set?
Hatred's Heritage.
Hatred's Heritage will be available for the Blood Knight.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So going forward, there will be now new cosmetics available for the Blood Knight, just as they are for all the other classes in Immortal. And then I guess for D4, will cosmetics be transferring to seasons, and will they need to be reobtained? I know this was like a question that we get a lot from people in regards to transmogs, and if you salvage specific stuff, how does that work between characters from Eternal and Seasonal Realms?
Yeah, Luthess is all transferring over with you when you go into the new season, and obviously every cosmetic set that you're via the store and via the Battle Pass, that stuff also is going to be carrying over with you.
Yes, if you ever unlock anything, your whole account has access to it forever, is the current functionality.
Nice.
I shouldn't say it that way. It sounds like we're going to change it.
Yeah, don't use the word forever, ever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nightmare. This is from Kincho Kimo. This is Nightmare Teleport was great, but why can't we just teleport right into dungeons rather than just to the entrance? So this one I think is interesting because Nightmare, we obviously incorporated the teleport here in 103. It was another thing that we had talked about where it was community feedback that we had gotten, and the team jumped on it really quickly to implement it in a specific way. We have been seeing a lot of feedback in regards to players having to teleport outside of dungeons and kind of go through like a couple load screens. It was a quick, implementation from the team and everything. So I know it's something that we've been hearing from our side, and it's something that we're going to be looking at more here in the future for optimizing and making sure that we can implement and maybe in a better way from some of the features that we've been just kind of adding in really quickly. On Immortal, we have. Was there some sort of Castlevania inspiration with the Blood Knight? Looking very, very similar to some popular characters from that franchise. Very pretty vampire-ish people, but not vampires.
I think we've discovered Adam's kink, by the way.
We can turn off Rod's mic now, so that's all we need to do. But yeah, was there any inspiration kind of thrown with the Blood Knight?
I think, when you're working with a tropic idea in fantasy like vampires, you take inspiration from all over. The spear thing puts us in mind of Vlad the Impaler. The aesthetic, you've already talked about some potential references, but I think for us is as much like what we take out as what we leave in. We don't want the Blood Knight to feel like a grab bag of all vampiric myths. They are very specifically grotesque, blood, shadow, knightly weapons oriented, and so there were things like turning into mist, like turning into wolves, etc., that we immediately said, hey, these need to be off the table. And so in that regard, I think there's a lot of familiar that we're channeling, but there's also like a very dialed in identity for the class.
Awesome.
Everybody knows that it's necromancers that turn into mist.
Let's see. In regards to Diablo 4, we have. Will you guys be nerfing or buffing in the middle of seasons, or will you be making changes after the season starts?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So,
this is from Goddic, by the way. So there you go.
Okay,
I just wanted
this
to.
is a real person. Yes, this is a good question. So we made a number of adjustments during the preseason period to make sure that we're bringing some builds back into where we expect them to be functionally and performance-wise. When we go into the seasonal release, we do want to create structured moments in time that we're going to be talking about, I think, more in future streams when we expect like buffs and nerfs to happen. So we have like a regular set of like patches that are going to be occurring after the season is released, where we have like a better schedule, like in cadence when we're talking about these things. We really want to try to reserve like big nerfs and big buffs for only like extreme outlier cases, and we're things were like really damaging the end game experience for a number of players. So we want to try to keep that more constrained, and we also want to have just fewer general like off cycle balance updates and things. So we're kind of keeping things more into this weekly cadence like we talked about.
So yeah, things will be pretty stable throughout the course of the season, unless, if one of the malignant powers, I know I joked about them being broken, but if the zone lights on fire when you use a malignant power, we're going to patch that. But otherwise, we're going to try and keep things stable.
I know we're running close on time because we were planning on this stream to be 90 minutes and we're 1 minute away. So I'm gonna lightning off a few questions. A big question within chat is obviously about stash space, which is something that we kind of just talked about a little bit earlier.
I'll say real quickly though, like we definitely hear everybody about this. We are talking a lot about what we need to do with this. We've got good plans of things we can do to improve the situation. I know it's frustrating to hear me say like, what you were able to do this, like you could be able to do like nightmare dungeons this quickly, but like the reality is like we are moving really quickly on this, and we're gonna be trying to provide more space in the future. We're figuring out how we're gonna get that accomplished.
Yeah, and also one thing to note is I know we talked about during campfire chats about how gems and so forth were going to be part of the materials in the future. So I know when that hits, like that will obviously free up a lot of stash space.
There's lots of different ways to kind of like slice away at this problem. And that's like an example of what we're trying to do to start trying to mitigate this a bit.
And then Jim, the Q guy, asked how much time between seasons. Still wants to level up his main. So in between seasons, obviously, we had talked about seasons lasting 3 months.
It's a minimum of 12 weeks. Sometimes it might be a little longer, but you'll always have at least 12 weeks to complete your season.
Correct. Yeah. So you guys will hear
the calendar dates, right? But
so you guys will hear like no matter what within or like once we hit that 3 month period, you'll start to hear news about the next season actually hitting and everything like that. And then this one, I guess for Rod, are there any plans on new classes coming to Diablo 4? We've just heard about the Blood Knight, so they're
we have nothing to announce at this time.
Oh, wow. That was very straight.
Yeah, Rod sitting off camera can answer that perfectly. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it here for today. Obviously, we talked a lot about all the stuff with Diablo Immortal for the Blood Knight coming out on July 13th. We also have for Diablo 4 Season 1, Season of the Malignant, which is going to be the patch will be on July 18th. And then the actual season starts on July 20th. We do actually have 2 blogs, one on DiabloImmortal.com and one on Diablo4.com. They'll be going live either right now or immediately after this live stream. That'll have all the details and information that we just talked about here on the stream. Yeah, lots of stuff coming up here for Diablo.
Patch this afternoon.
Oh yes, and there's a patch this afternoon. You'll be seeing. Oh, I forgot. That's why I have to do it immediately after the stream. I was trying to get out of it, guys. But we will have a patch. We'll have patch notes up on Diablo4.com. We have a patch article that will actually note, and we'll be updating people when that patch does hit. It is a client patch. It will require a download. It will be on all platforms. And yeah, lots of Diablo stuff coming up here in the next few weeks. Really excited. Happy Diablo family.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff coming up. I know we will be rating 2 Diablo content creators immediately after the stream. One on Twitch, which is Barricade, and the other one on YouTube, which is Killswitch. So make sure to tune into those guys. And thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to the Diablo Developer Update live stream. And from everyone here on the Diablo team, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
여러분 재밌게 보셨나요? 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요로 혼내주세요. 다음에 또 만나요. 제발.
Alright, JoSEePL, ready to put your joke to the thing.